Reborn in 1970. 3 shots make a 10,000 yuan household. Dim light, mottled earthen walls, a familiar red belly band. I stared at this scene, a shiver running through my whole body. I've seen this before. 15 years ago, I was standing in front of Widow Ding's bed, watching her undress. In the end, I did pounce on her, but before I could even take off my pants, the militia broke in and caught me in the act. And all of this was thanks to my good-for-nothing buddy Chow Pockmark. He set me up, forcing me to flee into the mountains for over a decade. But it didn't end there. To protect me, Grandpa was dragged off to a struggle session and tortured to death. My parents were constantly targeted by his family, fell and became disabled, and died within a few years. My elder brother was bitten by a black bear, and since we were too poor to afford treatment, he was left permanently disabled. My entire family's lives were destroyed by him. And now, I've been reborn. Taiju, what exactly do you want? Widow Ding saw me standing still, broke down emotionally, sat up and started pulling at my belt, tears streaming uncontrollably. Don't. Sister Ding. I grabbed her hand and pushed her down onto the bed. Widow Ding stiffened, bit her lip to keep quiet, but tears flowed like a river, saying don't do this. But in the end, you're just a beast, aren't you? Sister Ding. I lowered my voice. I'm sorry, I've been set up. Chow Pockmark is lurking outside, and the militia will be here in 5 minutes at most. Her expression clearly froze. I know she doesn't believe me now, but there's no time to explain. I rolled off the Kong and slipped out the back door. As I left, I glanced back and sure enough, saw Chow Pockmark sneaking behind a haystack. Bastard. I clenched my fists, grinding my teeth. In my past life, you destroyed my family. In this life, I'll make you pay blood for blood. 5 minutes later, I saw from a distance the militia charging into Widow Ding's house, then dragging Chow Pockmark out cursing. They caught no one, all for nothing. I groped my way home. A walled yard with 3 adobe houses, a few strings of dried chili peppers hanging under the eaves. Dad and Grandpa were sitting on the doorstep smoking their pipes. Dad, Grandpa. I called out, my nose stinging. At this time in my past life, I had already been caught. To save me, Grandpa secretly stuffed a hunting rifle into my hands and told me to run, but he was taken away for a struggle session and died within days. Where have you been so late? Wang Jiangwo looked up, tapping his pipe against the doorstep. Just went for a walk. With Chow Pockmark? Dad frowned. Stay away from him. That kid's no good, and neither is his old man. Got it, Dad. I answered firmly. Wang Jiangwo was clearly stunned, looking at me in disbelief. Normally I would have jumped up, but today I was so obedient. What the hell? Grandpa, I need to talk to you about something. I crouched down. I want to borrow your hunting rifle and go into the mountains to hunt. Into the mountains? I don't want to earn work points on the production team anymore. I want to find a way out in the mountains and make life better for the family. In my past life, I survived in the mountains for over a decade, so I'm already an experienced hunter. As long as I go into the mountains, I can change our current life. Nonsense. Dad objected on the spot. There are wolves and tigers in the deep mountains. Are you going to die alone? He lowered his voice. Did you get into trouble and want to hide in the mountains? Dad, no. I turned to Grandpa and said word by word, Grandpa, from today on, I'll turn over a new leaf and never do those stupid things again. Give me a chance. I want to live like a real man. Grandpa stared at me for a long time, his old eyes as sharp as an eagle's. Fine. Dad. Wang Jiangwo panicked. Grandpa raised his hand to stop him, stood up and walked into the house. It's good for a man to have some spirit. But I can't give you the gun directly. I'll give you 3 days. Set traps on the outskirts of the back mountain. Catch 5 wild rabbits, and I'll give you the gun. If you can't, then honestly go work on the production team. Deal. The next day at dawn, my little sister's crying reached my ears. Mom, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Be good. Wait until dawn. I'll dig some wild vegetables and make soup for you. I don't want soup. I want to eat wild vegetables. Save the wild vegetables for Dad and Grandpa. They do heavy labor. I couldn't lie still anymore. Everyone in the family was sallow and thin. Having 2 wild vegetable leaves floating in the pot was like New Year's. No way. Today I'm going to make sure they eat meat. Grabbing a machete, I quietly slipped out. As I left, Grandpa leaned against the door and warned in a low voice. Only on the outskirts. Don't go into the deep mountains, you hear? Don't worry, Grandpa. At the back mountain, I made several snares from vines. This skill was honed in the mountains in my past life, 10 times more durable than ordinary string snares. Just as I set the snares, a cooing sound came from above. A turtle dove. I picked up a stone and threw it hard, but missed. Again. Missed again. Damn it. With just stones, when will I ever get to eat meat? I took a deep breath, closed my eyes tightly, and silently prayed. Forget the gun, but can you give me a crosshair? Huh. When I opened my eyes again, there really was a crosshair in front of me, like the scope of a sniper rifle. Holy crap. Speak of the devil. I picked up a stone, shuffled my feet, and aimed the crosshair at the turtle dove on the branch. Whoosh. The stone shot through the air, hitting it right in the head. The turtle dove fell to the ground. Damn. I weighed the turtle dove in my hand. Not much meat, but for someone who hasn't seen meat in a long time, it's a delicacy. For the rest of the morning, using the crosshair, I shot down more than a dozen turtle doves. But then a problem arose. How to carry so much prey? Just as I was struggling, the turtle dove in my hand suddenly disappeared. I was startled. Looking down, the copper ring on my finger was glowing faintly. This ring, wasn't it the one I picked up while fleeing in the mountains in my past life? How is it still here after rebirth? I focused my mind and probed into the ring. The next second, a dry, constant temperature small space appeared in my consciousness, square and neat, like a small warehouse. The turtle dove that had disappeared was lying quietly inside. This is a storage space? I tested it, putting in and taking out dry branches, storing and retrieving at will. About 3 cubic meters, more than enough. This treasure is like a rebirth bonus from heaven. In the afternoon, I found a spot downwind to rest, planning to check the snares in the evening. A surprise came, 3 rabbits and 2 pheasants. Plus the turtle doves from the morning. Today's haul was amazing. I took out all the prey, tied their legs with vines, and hung them in strings around my neck, swaggering back to the village. That's right, showing off. I wanted the whole village to know that I, Taiju, wasn't just a loafer. I could also hunt in the mountains. On the way back, the men drawing water from the river to irrigate the fields were all stunned. Taiju, you're amazing, going up the mountain alone and catching so much? When did you learn this skill? Can you sell me some? My family hasn't had meat in half a year. Even the old hunters in the village don't come back with as much as you. I nodded to each of them, not stopping. Halfway, a young guy suddenly jumped out. Chow Wry Mouth, Chow Pockmark's younger brother, born with a crooked mouth. He stared at the prey all over me, eyes wide, grinning and reaching out to grab. Brother Taiju, give me one to try. My brother was just talking about you last night. If he hadn't mentioned Chow Pockmark, it would have been fine, but he did. Without a word, I kicked him straight out. Little bastard, dare to touch my prey? Itching for a beating, huh? Chow Wry Mouth screamed and flew several meters. Taiju, how dare you hit me? I'm hitting you, you little beast. I went up and kicked him several more times. In my past life, your brother destroyed my family. I want to eat his flesh and drink his blood. And you little punk dare to mention him in front of me? Looking for a beating. Chow Wry Mouth, beaten and covering his head, ran off cursing. Just you wait. I'll get my brother to deal with you. Fine, I'll be waiting. After venting that anger, I was in a great mood and strode home with the prey. At the doorstep, my little sister was squatting weakly in the yard, staring pitifully at a few wild vegetables on the ground. She looked up casually, and her big, aggrieved eyes suddenly sparkled. Brother's back. Little sister rushed over and hugged my leg. Wow, brother, you're amazing. Is all this meat edible? Xiaoxin is so hungry. Xiaoxin, be good. Tonight, you can eat however you want. I ruffled her hair. Xiaoxin gets to eat meat. No more wild vegetable soup. La la la. Little sister jumped for joy. My heart ached. He was clearly at an age for growth, yet he was skin and bones. Fortunately, it wasn't too late. You little brat. I told you not to go into the mountains. Why did you? Wang Zhangwo rushed out of the house in a panic. Seeing me covered in game, he froze on the spot, gulped hard, and swallowed his saliva. Mother, uncle, and aunt all gathered around, their eyes wide as bells, speechless for a long time. Grandpa was still sitting on the doorstep smoking his pipe, saying leisurely, "What's all the fuss? It's Tieju's first hunt. Coming back empty-handed is normal. There are still 2 days." Before he finished, he looked up and almost dropped his pipe. Well, I'll be damned. He walked over quickly, examined the game closely, and his frown deepened. Tell me what happened. What? These pheasants and rabbits were caught in traps, but these turtle doves, they looked like they were killed by stones. The old man was indeed a veteran. His eyes were too sharp. That's right, I killed them with stones. Killed with stones? And everyone hit in the head. Wang Zhongkai couldn't believe it. The others also looked as if they'd seen a ghost. I picked up a pebble from the ground, aimed at a broken bottle on the courtyard wall, and flicked my wrist. Smack. 20 meters away, the bottle shattered. How about that, Grandpa? Wang Zhongkai stared blankly at the wall, still not recovered. Could it be luck? Wang Zhangwo found it hard to believe. I picked up another pebble. Then I'll hit the hoe handle at the corner. Bang. Another precise hit. Everyone gasped. Such accuracy is harder than shooting a gun. Son, when did you learn this skill? Wang Jingwo couldn't help asking. I've known it for a long time, just didn't bother to show off. I brushed it off. Grandpa urged. All right, hurry up and process the game. Keep 2 rabbits and pheasants to sell at the town's black market for money to buy medicine for Kangjian. My heart skipped a beat. Wang Kangjian, my eldest brother. A week ago, he went into the mountains with the patrol team and was attacked by a black bear. It bit his leg and dragged him dozens of meters before he was rescued. His calf was fractured, and the wound was deep enough to see bone. In my previous life, the family was too poor to afford treatment, and my brother ended up permanently disabled. I'm going to see my brother. In the room, my brother lay on the bed, pale, with dry and cracked lips. His leg was wrapped in cloth strips, the oozing blood already dried and blackened. Taiju, you're back? He grinned, but even a slight movement made him break out in cold sweat from pain. Brother. My eyes reddened. My eldest brother doted on me the most. Since childhood, whenever I got into trouble, he would shield me from the family and clean up the mess, truly acting as a father figure. All right, after great misfortune comes great blessing. He patted the back of my hand and forced a faint smile. The doctor said it's nothing, just need to rest and recover. Rest and recover? If it were that simple, he wouldn't have ended up crippled in the previous life. Brother, I'll find a way to get the money. Don't worry, I'll make sure your leg gets better. With that, I turned and walked out. My sister-in-law called from behind. Taiju, the water is boiled. Dinner will be ready soon. Where are you going? I'm going to the Brigade Revolutionary Committee. I walked quickly, then broke into a run. If I remembered correctly, the black bear that attacked my brother was starving and had come down near the village. In my previous life, the village even issued a notice. Killing the black bear would earn a reward of 5 yuan. The black bear itself was valuable. Bear gall, bear paws, bear hide. Each could sell for a good price. If I could pull this off, my brother's medical expenses would be covered, and I could also help the family. Thinking this, I had already arrived at the Brigade Revolutionary Committee. The loudspeaker overhead emitted a piercing static. Attention, villagers. Attention, villagers. A black bear has come down from the mountains and is near the village, attacking people on sight. Please lock your doors and windows, and do not go out or up the mountain unless necessary. Additionally, we are recruiting hunters from the entire village to hunt the black bear. The successful hunter will be rewarded with 5 yuan. Those interested, please report to the Brigade Revolutionary Committee. Hearing this, I grinned, just as I thought. In the committee compound office, the light was on, and several figures were silhouetted against the window paper. Secretary Lee, that black bear is no joke. Yeah, the few old hunters left in our village went into the mountains last month and haven't returned. This black bear must have come down because it's starving in the mountains. Who in our village can handle it? Maybe, report it to the commune? Let them send someone. Taiju pushed the door open. The few people in the room turned to look at him. Before the announcement, the committee had already approached several hunters. Secretary Lee, a man in his 50s with a square face and thick eyebrows, was frowning and tapping the table. Seeing Taiju enter, he was taken aback, then his face showed some impatience. Taiju, what are you doing here? We're discussing serious business here. We don't have time for your nonsense. Secretary Lee, I'm here to sign up to kill the black bear. Taiju stood straight and spoke calmly. The room fell silent instantly, followed by a burst of laughter. Haha, Taiju, you? Hunt a black bear? Stop joking. Are you up to some trick again? That black bear could slap your head off with one paw. Exactly. Your skinny frame isn't even enough to fill its teeth. Secretary Lee waved his hand sternly and said to the dark-faced man beside him, Jenya, take your nephew home quickly. Your son has already been hurt by the black bear. Don't let this one get hurt too. If that happens, your family's burden will be even heavier. Wang Jenya was Tieju's uncle and the village's production team leader. Hearing this, he didn't hesitate and quickly came to Taiju, speaking earnestly. Taiju, be obedient and go back quickly. This is not something you can get involved in. I'll find a way to handle your brother's medical expenses. Looking at the worried face before him, Taiju felt a surge of emotions. In his previous life, because of him, his uncle was removed from his position. Coupled with his brother's injury, with no way out, his uncle also joined the black bear hunt that night. But he was flustered and exhausted, and ended up severely injured as well. Uncle, I am also a member of this family, and I should contribute. Just rest assured. Taiju composed himself and said. Wang Jenya frowned slightly, knowing his nephew's temperament well. Once he decided something, Even 9 oxen couldn't pull him back. All right, then stay close to me and don't act rashly. This matter is no joke. Got it, uncle. Just then, one of the men snorted coldly. Wang Jianya, are you letting your nephew fool around? When we actually see the black bear, don't expect him to help. It'd be good if he doesn't cause trouble. Chao Gang said disdainfully. He was Chao Mozi's father. I'll keep an eye on him. Wang Jianya frowned slightly. Humph. Chao Gang sneered. A little good for nothing wants to hunt? Don't wet your pants in fear. You? Taiju was about to retort when an anxious shout reached his ears. Team leader. Bad news. The remaining dozen acres of corn have been ravaged by the black bear. A voice came from outside the door. Wang Jianya panicked. If all the cornfields were destroyed, they wouldn't be able to pay the public grain tax. Then his position as production team leader would definitely be lost. Let's go? Let's go? Hurry. Wang Jianya and Taiju rushed out of the compound almost simultaneously. Seeing Taiju running faster than him, he quickly shouted, "You little brat, remember, don't act impulsively." Okay. A group of hunters followed closely behind, and the village loudspeaker broadcast the announcement. When they arrived at the lower part of the village, they saw a huge black mass darting back and forth in the cornfield. Bang! Bang! The hunters raised their guns and fired. But these men were amateurs in the village, and standing far away with poor marksmanship after a series of shots, not a single one hit. Taiju now understood why. In his previous life, when his uncle let him leave, he had run off so smoothly. First, because the beast was too fierce. Second, because these men's marksmanship was terrible, and they couldn't take down the beast quickly. After a large swath of corn fell, a massive black bear appeared in everyone's sight. The beast weighed at least 300 jin, with a hunched back and sharp claws on its feet. A true ferocious beast. It roared at the crowd, and everyone's face changed color as they instinctively stepped back. The beast was rampaging in the cornfield, and with everyone's poor marksmanship, dragging it out would be disastrous. Wang Jianya took a deep breath. Finally making up his mind, he approached the cornfield with his gun. Everyone follow me. Let's kill this beast. The others hesitated, but seeing Wang Jianya move forward, they could only follow. Chao Gang quietly retreated to the back of the line. When they reached the cornfield, the black bear was only about 10 meters away. Wait for my command. Fire. With the order, gunshots rang out. Roar. A howl sounded as a bullet hit the black bear's back. Instead of scaring it away, this only enraged it further. The black bear howled in pain and turned to charge at the hunters. It was already dark, and the corn stalks were tall and dense. The black bear darted left and right, making it hard for everyone to aim. Several hunters were terrified, retreating and firing wildly. Run! The black bear has gone mad. Chao Gang screamed. He dropped his torch and ran, even abandoning his gun. These people were just there for show. When the black bear charged recklessly, they were scared out of their wits. Forget the cornfield. Forget the reward. Nothing was more important than their own lives. Taiju, you go. I'll lure it away. The situation was out of control, and Wang Jianya was sweating with anxiety. He kept firing as he backed away, shouting at the black bear, "Come on, you beast. Come after your grandpa." It wasn't that he wasn't afraid, but he had no choice. On one hand, it was his duty as production team leader. On the other, there was the considerable reward for the black bear. His son needed the money for medical treatment. Compared to everyone else's panic, Taiju was unusually calm. In his previous life, he had spent many years in the deep mountains. After running out of bullets, he had killed countless large beasts with just a machete. He was long accustomed to scenes like this. And now that he had been reborn into this life, what would be the point if he still watched his family die? Just as he was thinking, he heard a cry of alarm. While luring the black bear away, Wang Jianya accidentally tripped and fell into a ditch. The black bear seized the opportunity and charged straight at him. Wang Jianya was panic-stricken, scrambling backward, his heart in his throat. But in a flash, he saw the black bear leap and pounce directly at him. His heart sank. It's over. His son's medical expenses were gone, and he was done for. Suddenly, a dark figure suddenly stood in front of him, followed by a flash of cold light. With a sound of poochie, roar, blood splattered as the knife landed squarely on the black bear's chest. The black bear recoiled in pain, rolling on the ground and howling. The expected death did not come. Wang Jianya looked incredulously at the back before him, swallowing hard. Taiju. Wang Jianya's eyes were filled with shock. Everything felt unreal, like a dream. His good-for-nothing nephew had actually saved his life at a critical moment, and more importantly, he had driven back the black bear with one strike. "Uncle, you go quickly. I'll buy some time." Taiju gripped his machete, his eyes exceptionally cold. After howling for a while, the black bear grew more agitated and directly confronted Taiju. Do you want to die? Run. Wang Jianya snapped back to reality, shouting himself hoarse. Uncle, don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing. Taiju didn't even turn his head. His tone was as firm as a rock. Wang Jianya panicked. If anything happened to Taiju, how would he explain it to the family? Without thinking, he got up to help. But at that moment, the black bear could no longer hold back and charged right up. Its thick forelimbs lunged forward, exuding an aura of death. Taiju showed no fear. He seized the moment, dodged the bear's pounce, and swiftly moved to the side. With a leap, he mounted the black bear's back. No matter how the bear spun and thrashed wildly, Taiju held on tight. Taiju, stay steady. I'll find help. Wang Jianya turned to reorganize the scattered hunters. Don't come. More people will only increase the danger. Taiju shouted urgently. If more people gathered, the beast might charge around and injure someone. But Wang Jianya wouldn't listen. He regrouped the men, determined to save him. No choice. He had to finish this quickly to avoid endangering everyone. Taiju clamped his legs tight, raised his machete, aimed at the black bear's head, and slashed down hard. The bear howled in pain and struggled desperately. But the man on its back seemed stuck like a burr, impossible to shake off. Taiju went berserk, slashing down again and again without mercy. Blood splattered. His face and body were covered in blood, making him look like a wild man. Wang Jianya and the hunters were all frozen in place. Their eyes wide, they couldn't snap out of it for a long time. Was this the same Taiju who usually loafed around and stole chickens? This was even more unbelievable than a prolonged drought in the 1970s. The black bear had thick skin and tough flesh, and it rampaged through the mountains like it was wearing armor. But even so, it couldn't withstand Tieju's relentless blows to the head. Kill. A full minute. The black bear's head was hacked to a bloody pulp, its skull shattered. Its struggles grew weaker and weaker. Finally, it crashed to the ground, twitched a few times, and stopped moving. Taiju stood there panting heavily, covered in blood. He turned to look at Wang Jianya, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. Great. Uncle is safe. Only then did the others snap out of it and rush over frantically. Especially the hunters, who looked at their guns with burning cheeks and deep shame. A group of armed men had been scared witless by a black bear, while Taiju, with just a knife, had ferociously killed it. Even the movies shown in town wouldn't dare to script this. That was too fierce. Zhao Zilong was all guts, and you're all Zhao Zilong. Admirable, admirable. Even the old hunters in the village wouldn't dare do that. All around, voices of praise buzzed. Then everyone's eyes fell on the black bear. It weighed over 300 jin, a bit bigger than a New Year's pig, lying in the cornfield, making everyone's mouth water. Taiju, are you okay? Wang Jianya grabbed his shoulders, inspecting him thoroughly from head to toe. Haha, I'm fine, just a bit tired. And you're still laughing? Who told you to be so reckless? Wang Jianya couldn't help but grab Tieju's ear, both angry and distressed. If not for this kid, he would have been done for today. Uncle, there are so many people here. Give me some face. I still need to get married. I'll deal with you when we get back. Wang Jianya glared at him, then turned to instruct everyone. Carry this black bear to the river to clean it, then move it to the threshing ground. It's hot, so it won't keep. Boil water tonight to remove the fur, and divide the meat tomorrow morning. Hearing this, everyone got excited. For the past half year, they had been living on the commune's relief grain, not even getting a full meal, let alone any meat. Even though this big black bear was killed by Taiju, it was still collective property. So he would only get half. Each family could get about 2 jin, enough to satisfy their cravings. Haha, we've got meat to eat. All thanks to Taiju. Everyone cheered and carried the black bear to the river with much effort. The black bear is washed clean, but our great hero hasn't bathed yet. Hurry up, hurry up. Secretary Li stood by the riverbank, patting Tieju's shoulder with relief. Great, great. A hero is born young. I knew you were something since you were a kid, and today proves it. Taiju scratched his head and muttered. Secretary Li, you said before, I was messing around. Secretary Li's face stiffened, and he waved his hand repeatedly. No such thing. No such thing. I never said that. It must have been someone else. You misheard. I even held you when you were little. Taiju, you have to believe me. Hey. Before Taiju could finish, he was dragged into the river by a group of people. Haha, great hero, let me scrub your back. Ah no, I'll wash myself. Hey, don't touch randomly. Taiju felt hands all over his body. He had just blocked one hand when another came down. Haha, impressive kid. You've got quite the build and strength. Some girl will be lucky in the future. After washing up, the remaining chores were left to others. Taiju and Wang Jianye returned home, where the lights were still on. Seeing the two return, the family breathed a sigh of relief. It's all over. The black bear is dead. Wang Jianye grinned. After speaking, he gave Taiju a meaningful glance. Really? That's great. Aunt patted her chest in relief. It's a pity about the corn, such good crops. Sister-in-law sighed as well. As long as people are safe, it's fine. The crops are a loss, but we have meat to eat. Wang Jianye was a bit excited. Their family could get a full half of the meat. And all thanks to Taiju. Hey, how did you know we have meat to eat? Aunt was startled. She had wanted to surprise him, but he already knew. So she quickly went to the kitchen and brought out a basin and some rice. Since you already know, eat while it's hot. Wang Jianye was dumbfounded and asked subconsciously, where did this come from? It's all from Tieju's hunting today, a lot of it. Today the whole family gets a treat. Aunt paused. She asked suspiciously, you didn't know? Then what did you mean by having meat to eat? This. Wang Jianye was speechless. He looked at Taiju, who grinned and focused on eating. Seeing the whole family's suspicious looks, Wang Jianye took a deep breath and slowly recounted the story. The more they listened, the more stunned their expressions became. This. Taiju killed a black bear with one knife? Everyone stared at Taiju as if they had seen a ghost. If catching hares and turtle doves during the day was within normal limits, killing a black bear barehanded was too abnormal. How could anyone be so fierce? He just lucky. Taiju chuckled. But the family clearly didn't believe it. It's hard for an ordinary person to kill a pig, let alone a black bear. It felt like Taiju had been reborn, completely different from before. Sob. Just then, sister-in-law suddenly choked up. Taiju, your brother. Could you lend us this 5 yuan to buy medicine and see a doctor for your brother? Hearing this, everyone's eyes fell on him. Taiju paused his eating and shook his head directly. I won't lend this money. Damn it. Grandpa Wang Zhengkai slammed his pipe on the table. Your brother is in that state now, and your sister-in-law finally opened her mouth. You can't even part with this little money? Think about how your brother treated you before. People can't be too selfish. The angrier he got, the louder he spoke. Taiju was caught between laughter and tears and quickly explained, Grandpa, you misunderstood. I mean, I won't lend it. I mean, this money is for sister-in-law. I went to the Revolutionary Committee today for my brother's matter. We're family. Why talk about lending? How impersonal. The scene fell silent. Everyone looked at each other, unable to speak for a moment. So, Taiju really had changed. Not only had he learned skills, but he had also become more promising. Ahem, my grandson has grown up. Wang Jingcai's expression changed several times before he finally uttered that sentence. The whole family burst into laughter, and the eldest uncle's family was especially grateful. As for the 5 yuan reward, eldest uncle, you can go collect it yourself. If it's not enough, our family can get half of the black bear, and we can sell some later. My brother's matter is important. Taiju made the final decision. Everyone nodded. The stone in their hearts finally lifted. The next morning, the threshing ground was surrounded by circles of people. Their eyes were all fixed on the 300-gene black bear. Oh my god, look at this bear. It's like a New Year's pig. It would take at least 7 or 8 people to catch it. Hey, you're wrong there. Last night's scene was scarier than a movie. That Wang family's Taiju killed the black bear all by himself. How he did it, I'm not sure. Let me tell you. Taiju jumped onto the bear alone and slashed at its head with his knife. Dozens of slashes in a row, and he hacked the beast to death. A real man should be like this. The fierce rumors about Taiju spread rapidly on the threshing ground. The more they spread, the more unbelievable they became. In my half a century of life, I've only heard of Wu Song fighting a tiger, never of Taiju fighting a bear. This Taiju is even more impressive than Wu Song. Yeah, several hunters in the village with guns were scared and ran away. But this kid is a tough one. He dared to go up with just a knife. From now on, when the old hunters return, won't they feel ashamed? From now on, who dares to say a bad word about Taiju? Who has the guts? Who has the strength? Who has the courage? I'm afraid that with this one incident, Taiju has established his reputation in the village as a formidable figure. The crowd nodded repeatedly and swallowed hard. The black bear was processed quickly, yielding 320 gene of net meat. Some were happy, some were jealous. Chao Gang looked at Wang Jianye and Taiju, each carrying nearly 100 gene of meat on their shoulders, and said sarcastically, Secretary Li, so many of us went last night. Why does Taiju alone get half the meat? Isn't that unfair? The bear is collective property. It should be divided equally. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at him. Many faces changed color. Chao Gang, you old bastard, say that again. Taiju put down the meat on his shoulder and cursed at Chao Gang. Who cares if you're the deputy production team leader? I said the bear is collective. Why does your family get more? Collective? Last night, when the bear went mad, why didn't you say you were part of the collective? You ran fast enough. Why didn't you step up and fight the bear? Chao Gang was choked by these words. He was also there last night, but just showed his face. Naturally, he wouldn't risk his life against the beast. When you went, there were many people, but you ran faster than anyone with your guns. If my uncle and I hadn't stepped up and risked our lives, not only would the crops be lost, but our lives would be gone too. Where were you then? If I remember correctly, when the black bear charged, you were the first to run. Taiju exposed him mercilessly. The words were met with laughter all around. Chao Gang's face turned pale and then red. He wished he could find a hole to crawl into. The old party secretary has no objection. So what are you, the deputy production team leader, complaining about? Be careful. Taiju might treat you like a black bear. Chao Gang, that's enough. Someone like you shouldn't even get 2 gene of meat. Yeah, keep talking and we'll charge you with disrupting the collective. Secretary Li couldn't stand it anymore. He said to the crowd, Taiju earned the black bear with his life. If he gets a larger share, do any of you have objections? No. Even when hunting in the mountains, if you catch a large game, you hand over half to the team. Who can object? Exactly. Getting 2 gene of meat is already good. We're all grateful to Taiju. Without him, we wouldn't have a single bear hair. Many people expressed their views. Taiju was still angry, not to mention the previous incident with Chao Matsi. Just from what Chao Gang said just now, if he let that guy take 2 gene of meat home today, he would be suffocated. Secretary Li, Uncle, I'm laying it out today. If you give Chao Gang 2 gene of meat today, I won't earn work points in the team from tomorrow. Even if I go hunting in the mountains and catch wild boar or bear, I won't leave any for the team. I'll send it directly to the commune. The village won't get a single gene of meat from me. Taiju scanned the crowd and said angrily. In the past, no one would have cared, but now that everyone knows Tieju's skills, who dares to take it lightly? Taiju, what right do you have? I'm the village's deputy production team leader. Because I know how to hunt. You got a problem with that? Taiju looked at Chao Gang and his son with contempt. Seeing Chao Matsi there, he snorted. Chao Matsi, I've insulted your father like this, and you can still stay calm? After all these years following me, if anyone dared to insult my father or my family, I would have charged at them already. You coward. You. Hearing this, Chao Matsi was about to rush forward. But Chao Gang held him back. Don't be impulsive. This Taiju killed a 300 gene black bear. Beating your son would be a piece of cake. The father and son had completely lost face. They were in the wrong in front of the whole village, which was a first. You little brat, stop talking and carry the meat back. Wang Jianya, who was distributing the meat, walked over. He was afraid that his hot-tempered nephew would beat up the father and son on the spot. Although Taiju was reckless, he was nothing but good to his family. And he was also clever. This man was not someone to offend lightly, as it would lead to a fight to the death. That was why Chao Gang and his son had previously plotted to frame him, to keep him down, making it easier to deal with Wang Jianya later. They never expected the kid to somehow not fall for the trap. Chao Gang, look at the mess you've made. Secretary Li stared at Chao Gang, a hint of schadenfreude on his face. Taiju has said his piece, and there's nothing we can do about it. What do you suggest? Secretary Li, you can't say that. Chao Gang panicked, his voice rising. The black bear belongs to the collective, so why shouldn't I get a share? That's unreasonable. The villagers erupted in uproar. Taiju had taken down a 300 gene black bear with just a hatchet. Everyone had seen his skill. If they gave Chao Gang meat today, Taiju might really report him to the commune, and then the whole village would suffer. Deputy team leader, someone shouted. You brought this on yourself. Don't ruin things for the whole village because of yourself. That's right. Voices of agreement rose and fell in the threshing ground. Seeing the angry crowd, Chao Gang's heart trembled. If he insisted on those 2 gene of meat today, he would definitely incur public wrath, and his position as deputy captain might be at stake. You disgraceful piece of trash, get out of here. Chao Gang had no choice but to vent his anger on Chao Matsi. Dad, ouch. What does this have to do with me? Chao Matsi stomped his foot in anger. The father and son left reluctantly, fuming. After this incident, everyone in the village knew that the 2 biggest troublemakers were now sworn enemies. Yesterday, the family had enjoyed a meaty meal, but rabbit and turtle dove had little fat. However, the black bear Taiju had killed today, though not very large, had plenty of fat. Even rendering the fat would yield about 10 gene. As soon as the uncle and nephew got home, Taiju grabbed a cleaver and cut 10 gene of the fattiest meat from half a side of bear. Sister-in-law, fry this meat. We're eating it today. This. The sister-in-law looked at the fat on the chopping board, her hands trembling. They had been used to relief grain and wild vegetables. Having meat yesterday was already a treat. How could eating meat become the norm? Grandson. Grandma was anxious and grabbed Tieju's arm. Even though we got nearly 150 or 60 gene of meat, we can't waste it like this. Each family in the brigade only got 2 gene, and they only cut a few ounces for a taste. How can you be so extravagant? Listen, salt the rest, and make bacon to eat slowly. The old lady had been poor for too long. Who knew when this famine would end? Taiju put down the cleaver and smiled as he approached his grandmother. Grandma, don't you know your grandson's skills? I can't guarantee fine grains every meal, but there's plenty of game in the mountains. I promise that from today on, our family won't lack meat. Besides, it's scorching hot in August. The bacon would go bad. At this, the younger siblings' eyes lit up. They looked at Taiju with admiration, secretly vowing to become as capable as him. Although they had always complained a bit, because this second brother earned fewer work points than them, but was the most favored at home, causing some resentment. But now, those grievances and imbalances had vanished. Second brother, is that true? Will we really have meat every meal? This was the little girl from third uncle's family on the hill, named Wang Ying. Her eyes sparkled, and her voice was full of excitement. Of course it's true. Everything our brother says is true. Wang Xian clenched his fists, full of anticipation. Yesterday, brother killed the bear like Zhao Zilong, charging in and out 7 times. He's my idol. When I grow up, I want to go hunting in the mountains with brother too. All right, stop it. Taiju felt a bit dizzy. He had never received so much admiration before. Besides, at home, his risky actions were a bad example for the younger ones. If the elders found out the kids were imitating him, he'd be in big trouble. Grandpa, Grandma, it's so hot. The leftover bear meat will go bad by tomorrow. I was thinking of giving 10 gene each to Grandma's family, Secretary Li's family, aunt-in-law, and sister-in-law's family, and taking the rest to town. To see if we can exchange it for some coarse or fine grains. Those cornbread and porridge are barely edible. Taiju couldn't bear to see his family eat such things. No matter how good the meat is, we still need staples. Otherwise, everyone will be malnourished. It's fine. Grandma hesitated. Is 10 gene per family too much? Old woman, why so much nonsense? Grandpa glared at her, then turned to Taiju. Our in-laws have been good to us. In the first half of the year, when we couldn't make ends meet, they helped us. Now that our grandson has skills, it's right to repay kindness. Our grandson is doing the right thing. He's far-sighted. Seeing the old couple relent, aunt-in-law, the eldest sister-in-law, and the younger sister-in-law all teared up. Yesterday, before the meat was distributed, they had been thinking about their own families, since everyone was struggling in the famine. But today, when the meat came, they didn't know how to ask. Unexpectedly, Taiju took the initiative and even offered 10 gene, more than they could have hoped for. They were deeply moved and looked at Taiju with immense gratitude. Taiju, thank you. Aunt-in-law led the way, and the sisters-in-law wiped their tears, their voices choked. We're family, don't mention it. Taiju waved his hand with a smile. Half an hour later, the rich aroma of meat wafted from the Wang family courtyard. The neighbors all had 2 gene of meat, but none were as extravagant as Tieju's family. They had to ration carefully. Just then, the village loudspeaker crackled. Secretary Li's voice came through. No work today in the brigade. Every family has meat, so let's have a mini New Year. Rest at home and eat your fill of meat. Finally, let's thank Taiju once again. As the broadcast ended, the entire production brigade erupted in excitement. The smell of meat filled every household, and the air was thick with satisfying grease. But only one household was desolate, with only thin porridge and a few wild vegetables on the table. What are you looking at? Eat up, Chao Gang shouted angrily. At Widow Ding's house, the meat smell mingled with curses. At the table, the mother and daughter didn't even dare approach the pot. They huddled on small stools, each clutching a half-hard cornbread, chewing painfully. What are you staring at? Eat. You cursed widow who brings bad luck. My eldest son was blind to marry you. Within 2 years of entering the house, you killed him, leaving this worthless girl to freeload. Hearing this, Widow Ding lowered her eyes. Her knuckles turned white, gripping the cornbread, her voice as thin as a mosquito. Mother, I didn't. How dare you talk back? Father-in-law Zhang slammed the table in fury. Meat juice splattered from the bowl. The younger son and his wife quickly shielded it, afraid someone might taste it. If not for you, this jinx, would my eldest son have fallen and died while chopping wood? Now that we have some meat, you dare to look? Do you deserve it? The 2-year-old girl trembled in fear. She opened her mouth to cry, but Widow Ding covered it. Widow Ding hugged her tightly, lowering her head further. Father, mother, I was wrong. I won't eat. Yaya won't eat either. Good. You two worthless things don't deserve to eat. It's a waste. The old woman spat, picking the biggest, fattest piece and putting it into the younger daughter-in-law's bowl. From now on, all the meat in this house is for my unborn grandson. Widow Ding held Yaya, feeling wronged, tears streaming down. Ever since her man left, this had been her life. She never fought back when hit, never talked back when scolded, only hoping that when the child grew up, there would be some hope. After the whole family had eaten their fill, only a messy table remained, not even a mouthful of soup left. Mom, Yaya is hungry. The little girl touched her stomach and spoke weakly. Yaya, be good, don't cry. Mom will go up the mountain to dig wild vegetables for you. Ding Widow wiped her tears, put the child on her back, and stepped out the door. At Tieju's house, the sun was high. The bear meat from lunch had just been eaten, and the younger kids had already bounced off to school with their cloth school bags. Taiju took his machete and prepared to go into the mountains. Cough. Just then, a coughing sound came from behind. It turned out to be the old man walking out, holding a hunting rifle in one hand and 20 bullets in the other. Grandpa, Tieju's eyes lit up, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but lift. Grandson, take this gun. Although the matter we talked about hasn't been settled yet, Grandpa has seen your skills. Wang Zhengkai looked gratified. The Wang family has produced a capable person. As a grandfather, he was naturally happy. This, no need, right? Taiju hesitated for a moment. Even without this gun, I can still bring back game. In his previous life, he had hidden in the deep mountains and forests for 15 years, surviving only because of this hunting rifle. It was no exaggeration to say it was half his lifesaver. Yesterday you were asking for the gun, but today I give it to you, and you don't want it? Exactly. You little brat. Take it into the mountains so we can feel at ease at home. Dad and Uncle also chimed in. Grandpa, Uncle, Dad, think about it. Why did that black bear come out of the woods? Wasn't it because it was starving? That's not wrong, but mainly because it hadn't rained for over half a year, and there was no water in the mountains. Taiju paused, then continued. Can we guarantee these beasts won't come down the mountain again? Leaving this gun at home will keep the whole family safe. Hearing this, everyone present was stunned. Thinking carefully, it really made sense. That's right, you've thought it through thoroughly. Wang Zhengkai nodded and couldn't help muttering a few times. In that case, be careful. Go early and come back early. Taiju walked swiftly and left quickly. The 3 men, father and sons, looked at each other and smiled bitterly. How come now they, as elders, weren't as thorough in their considerations as a child? Half an hour later, the outskirts of Yueshan Mountain. This place was eerie. Wolves often howled at night, and even during the day, villagers dared not approach. As he was about to enter the mountain, Taiju picked up small stones while walking. Just then, from the woods ahead came a childish voice, Mom. Here. Slow down, don't fall. Taiju was stunned. The whole village had shared bear meat in the morning. How could someone still be digging wild vegetables here? He quietly moved forward a couple of steps. Then he saw Ding Widow and her daughter squatting in the bushes digging wild vegetables. Sister Ding, are you crazy, bringing Yaya to dig wild vegetables here? Tieju's sudden words startled the mother and daughter. Wow, Mom. Yaya burst into tears and threw herself into Ding Widow's arms. Ding Widow's face turned pale with fright, holding Yaya tightly, her whole body trembling. The night before last, when Taiju climbed into her room, she still shuddered at the thought. Now, in this desolate wilderness, if Taiju tried anything, even if she screamed her throat hoarse, it would be useless. As for what he said that night, it was pure nonsense. A dog can't change its nature of eating shit. Sister Ding, don't be afraid. I was just passing by while hunting in the mountains. Taiju quickly forced a smile, trying to be as kind as possible. Seeing this, Ding Widow relaxed her tense body slightly, patting Yaya's back. Yaya, don't cry. Uncle Taiju is not a bad person. But as soon as she said this, she felt guilty. This man was a well-known loafer in the village. How could she believe such words? Hee. Yaya, don't be afraid. I'm not a bad person. The 2 pounds of bear meat your family got was killed by me. Yaya finally stopped crying, wiping her tears with her little hands, staring straight at him. Sister Ding, didn't your family get meat? Why are you still digging wild vegetables? Ding Widow didn't say a word. She just lowered her head and kept digging wild vegetables. Seeing this, Taiju could only smile and asked the little girl, Yaya, tell uncle, why aren't you eating meat at home? Grandpa and Grandma won't let Yaya and Mom eat, and they hit Yaya and Mom. Hearing the childish voice, Tieju's voice turned serious. Sister Ding, is what Yaya said true? Ding Widow didn't look up, but tears uncontrollably fell. Tieju's heart sank. In his previous life, he and Ding Widow were caught in the act, which is why he panicked and fled into the deep mountains. When he returned 15 years later, his cousin told him that within 2 months of his escape, Ding Widow and Yaya had jumped into the river. At that time, he thought Ding Widow couldn't bear the gossip. But now it seemed that this mother and daughter were living a life worse than dogs at her in-laws' house. The more he thought, the heavier Tieju's heart felt. Because in his previous life, Ding Widow was the only woman he had ever been intimate with. The whole mess back then was all his fault, causing this poor mother and daughter to end up like that. Now hearing how vicious her in-laws were, Taiju couldn't control his anger, his chest heaving. Yaya, do you want to eat some delicious meat? As soon as he said this, Ding Widow stood up, held Yaya in her arms, picked up her things, and turned to leave. She didn't want to stay a second longer, afraid of something bad happening. Hey! Taiju quickly reached out and grabbed her arm, saying repeatedly, Sister Ding, wait. I really don't mean anything else. Even if you don't think about yourself, think about Yaya. She's only a little over 2 years old. Eating wild vegetables every day, how can her body handle it? Ding Widow stopped in her tracks. Her tears fell even harder, and she choked. What can I do even if she can't handle it? The cornbread at home is as hard as stone. Yaya can't bite it. What can I do? She was full of grievance, and by the end, she couldn't speak clearly. The whole family only gave us mother and daughter half a cornbread. If we don't eat wild vegetables, we'll starve. If it weren't for this place being a wolf's den, with few people and plenty of wild vegetables, why would she risk her life? Sister Ding, what happened the night before last was really a setup. I have no ill intentions. Taiju quickly explained. Changing his tone, he said solemnly, if you trust me, open the window tonight, and I'll bring you and Yaya cooked meat. He looked at Ding Widow's haggard but delicate face, speaking with utmost sincerity. That's impossible. Who knows if you're trying to? Ding Widow's words stuck in her throat, her eyes full of wariness. Don't worry, if I wanted to do anything, I would have done it in the woods. I wouldn't wait until night. Taiju looked at Yaya's thin face and continued. Look at Yaya. She's skin and bones. Don't you want her to eat something good to nourish her? Trust me this once. Ding Widow looked down at the child. Yaya's eyes were wet, and her little mouth unconsciously puckered. In the morning, the whole village was filled with the aroma of meat, but only they didn't get any. It was okay for her to go hungry, but Yaya was growing, and hadn't even tasted meat. It was really heartbreaking. In these famine years, if she could let the child eat some meat, even if Taiju really wanted her for a night, she would accept it. This basket of wild vegetables is enough for you two to fill your stomachs at noon. Seeing her attitude soften, Taiju smiled and urged, go back quickly. This place has wolves even during the day. It's too dangerous. Tonight, I guarantee you and Yaya will eat meat until you're full. Ding Widow didn't speak, just hummed softly, hugged Yaya, and quickly left. Taiju continued deeper into the mountains. At night, he would go to the black market to exchange for grain. He was very familiar with the black market in town, but it was too small to exchange much, so he had to go to Yuan County. Going to Yuan City on foot took 2 hours, which wasn't easy, but luckily he had the ring space, which could hold a lot of things. So he decided that this time in the mountains, he must kill a large game animal in exchange for more at once. Taiju didn't waste time on the outskirts, but headed straight into the deep mountains. At first, he thought of going to the wild boar forest, but then he thought again. With the drought, he would probably find nothing there. Taiju chose the path he had taken in his previous life when he fled into the deep mountains. In my memory, if you keep walking straight for about 2 hours, there is a small stream. Even during the drought, this stream never dried up. Since the mountains are short of water, if there's water here, there will likely be large wild animals. On the way, he saw some areas with dense rabbit droppings and set 2 snares. Besides that, he also found a nest of pheasants. Although the pheasants ran away, he still picked up 15 pheasant eggs. There were no paths in the deep forest, so he had to clear the way with his machete. It took a full 2.5 hours to reach the stream. Sure enough, the stream side was covered with signs of wild boars rooting around, and the droppings were fresh. Taiju felt it was a pity. Judging by the scene, it had been at most an hour. He hurried as fast as he could, but he was still late. Although he could follow the tracks and likely find them, but it would take at least an hour. Even if he successfully hunted, He wouldn't have time to get out of the mountains. Once he encountered a wolf pack in the mountains, even Taiju, with only a machete, would find it hard to survive. Since he couldn't catch up with the wild boars, Taiju changed his strategy. He decided to wait by the stream, the choke point for the animals, and set up an ambush. So he climbed a tree and waited for 3 hours. Not a single large beast, not even a rabbit. Damn, the sun had already set. It would take 2 hours to go back. I have to leave. Taiju took a deep breath. He didn't expect to return empty-handed today. Just as he was about to jump down from the tree, he caught a glimpse of a group of silly roe deer slowly walking towards him about 50 meters away. He looked closely and counted 8 of them. The leading buck was huge, probably over 100 gene. Behind it were 3 does, one of which looked pregnant, and the last 4 were newborn fawns. Taiju was extremely excited. Just a moment ago, he thought he would return empty-handed, and now fortune had smiled upon him. Although they are called silly roe deer, they aren't really stupid. Even if a companion is shot dead, they will run away in fright, but after a while, they will come back to see what happened. As the roe deer got closer, Taiju prepared to strike. His targets were the 2 in front, the leading buck and a doe walking side by side, only about 40 centimeters apart. If he jumped down from the tree, he could grab them with both hands and slit their throats. As he thought this, the roe deer were already beneath him. Without hesitation, Taiju leaped down, and everything went as he had planned. He tightly strangled the 2 leading roe deer and threw them to the ground. The roe deer behind stood dumbfounded for a full 5 seconds before suddenly reacting, their tail hairs exploding outward. Exposing their white rumps, they fled into the jungle in panic. The 2 pinned roe deer struggled fiercely, kicking their legs. Especially the buck, which was extremely strong. Taiju had to grit his teeth and hold its neck tightly. With his legs clamping the doe, he barely managed to free a hand and pull out his machete. Flash! The blade cut across the neck, and hot blood gushed out. Half of Tieju's pants were stained red. Before the buck died, he quickly struck the doe as well. Both roe deer had their throats slit, their legs still twitching and kicking. Taiju panted, lying between them, waiting slowly. Time passed minute by minute. After about 15 minutes, the other 2 does actually brought the fawns back to the edge of the jungle not far away, shaking their heads and looking over. Another 2 minutes passed. They slowly walked over and stopped about 5 meters from Taiju. 1 person and 6 roe deer stared at each other. Taiju didn't move. He was waiting for the non-pregnant doe to come closer. After another 2 minutes, the non-pregnant doe indeed walked up to the dead buck. Its wet nose rubbed repeatedly against the buck's body, completely unaware of Taiju, who had risen from the dead beside it. Taiju seized the fleeting opportunity and sprang up from the ground. He wrapped one arm around its neck and swung the machete with the other. During the struggle, blood splattered on his face. Within a minute, it collapsed limply. The remaining roe deer were terrified and fled into the woods without looking back. Haha, 3 roe deer. A full 200 gene. This is much more valuable than wild boars or bears. I can sell them for a good price at the black market. Taiju was extremely excited. Howl. But at that moment, from deep in the mountains came a series of wolf howls. Judging by the sound, there were at least 20 wolves. Oh no. Tieju's heart sank. In an instant, he fell from joy back to reality. He was so happy that he forgot he was still deep in the mountains. The blood from 3 roe deer, in this silent, deep forest, would easily attract a wolf pack. Taiju dared not delay a single moment. Even though the last roe deer's blood hadn't fully drained, he immediately stored them in his ring space. Then he grabbed his machete and quickly cut down a tree trunk as thick as a wrist. In a few strokes, he sharpened a wooden spear and held it for self-defense. After doing all this, he turned and ran back the way he came. Remembering the snares he had set earlier, he went to check them. There were 2 rabbits, each about 3 gene. He tossed them into his ring space and didn't dare stop, continuing to rush out of the mountains. The wolf howls behind him gradually faded as he moved away. The sky grew darker. The light in the mountains was gradually swallowed by dusk. Taiju dared not rest. He alternated between running and walking, and after a full hour and a half, he finally saw the outline of the outside. When he set foot on the familiar mountain path, his tense nerves relaxed a little. Upon reaching the roadside, he collapsed directly onto the ground, panting heavily. After resting for more than 10 minutes, he continued walking back. Oh my, Taiju, you actually caught a roe deer today? That's amazing. When he reached the village entrance, Taiju took out the smallest roe deer from his ring space. Besides that, he had 15 pheasant eggs in his pocket and 2 rabbits hanging from his belt. Although walking was a bit awkward, He was in a good mood. Taiju, another big harvest today. How are you more skilled than the old hunters in the village? Why don't you pack up all this game? It's inconvenient to carry like this. Hearing this, Taiju smiled and said, Aunt son, I've already packed it up. It's this late, have you eaten? This year there's a drought. Only the corn in the fields is barely okay, but after the black bear raided it last night, it's basically done. The production team only assigns one person per family to work. The women at home, besides digging wild vegetables during the day, have nothing to do and always gather to gossip. Over time, this formed the village entrance intelligence group. Yes, I ate the leftover bear meat. Speaking of which, thanks to you. Otherwise, how could we have meat? Today feels like New Year, Aunt Sun said with a smile, licking her lips as if savoring the taste. The more she looked at Taiju, the more she liked him. Taiju, this roe deer looks about 50 gene, right? According to the rules, half should go to the production team. Aunt Lee said eagerly. What she mentioned was an unwritten old rule in the village. Aunt Lee, has Uncle Lee not beaten you for so long that your eyes are dry? Taiju rolled his eyes. This Aunt Lee is Chow Motsi's aunt, not a good person. Besides, this roe deer is at most 40 gene. Anyone with a bit of eyesight knows that. Haha. The surrounding aunties burst into laughter. You? Aunt Lee saw that no one was on her side. Her face turned as red as a pig's liver, and she turned and left. Taiju, did you really fall out with Chow Motsi? You two used to be so close. What happened? That kid is full of bad ideas, a bad seed. Aunt Son, you all chat. I need to go back. Having achieved his goal, Taiju made some perfunctory remarks and left. At most by tomorrow morning, Chow Motsi will know he caught a roe deer. After he hunts a couple more times, that kid will definitely not be able to resist and will go into the mountains to hunt. When that time comes, won't he have a chance for revenge? Aunt Sun and the others watched Taiju's back and started whispering again. Grandpa, Grandma, I'm back. As soon as Taiju entered the yard, he threw the roe deer off his shoulder. Second brother is back. His cousin Xiaoying heard the noise and ran out. She then called into the house a few times, and soon everyone inside rushed out. You little brat, it's completely dark before you come back. Your grandparents were worried sick. Watch me whip you, Wang Zhengwo said as he grabbed a bamboo switch. Just moments ago, the family was discussing going into the mountains to search for him. Second brother, that's enough. Isn't Taiju back now? It's fine, it's fine. The old man, protective of his grandson, quickly stopped him. Dad, you're spoiling this brat. Yesterday he dared to fight a black bear, and today he comes back late at night. If this continues, something will happen. Wang Zhengwo said angrily, still not over his anger. Grandson, your father is right. Don't be so late next time. The mountains are unsafe. Everyone was worried to death. Grandma held Taiju's hand and gently patted it, reminding him. I know, Grandpa and Grandma. You two take care of these two rabbits. Taiju agreed and untied the rabbits from his waist. Wow, brother, you caught rabbits again. We'll have meat to eat tomorrow. His younger siblings' eyes lit up like fire at the sight of the rabbits. They were overjoyed, jumping and dancing. Although there were still over 100 pounds of bear meat at home, it had to be taken to the black market overnight to exchange for money and grain, leaving none behind. Plus, with brother Taiju's medical expenses, they couldn't afford to delay. Look at you, so easily impressed. Don't tell anyone you're my siblings. I'd be embarrassed. It's just a little meat. When have we ever lacked it? Taiju puffed out his chest and deliberately scolded. Enough, enough. Stop showing off. We know you're capable. Wang Zhengwo rolled his eyes. Though he said that, the corners of his mouth were turned up high. After all, who was the one letting the whole family eat meat? It was his own son. How could he, as the father, not feel proud? What's wrong with him showing off? In the village, those who could catch rabbits could be counted on one hand. The eldest uncle chimed in to support him. But after he finished, Taiju muttered, Dad, Uncle, you have no ambition either. 2 rabbits and you're already satisfied? Hey, you little brat, I'm helping you and you. Look at what's at the door. Wang Jianya was about to speak loudly but couldn't help looking at the door, where there was a dark lump. They suspiciously went closer to look. Dad, what is this? A deer. It's a roe deer. 3 years ago, Uncle Zhang in our village caught one, and I saw it. After hearing the old man's words, the whole family was dumbfounded. A roe deer that the whole village had only caught once in 3 years, and Taiju, a newcomer who had only been up the mountain for 2 days, had caught one? If this got out, how would the old hunters in the village feel? Comparisons are odious. Wow, so this is a roe deer. Brother, you're amazing. This is my first time seeing one. Does that mean my brother is the best hunter in our village? Even better than those uncles and grandpas. Ears full of praise. Taiju had a smile on his face and asked back, Dad, Uncle, how about it? Yes. I'm narrow-minded. I have no ambition. Wang Jianya scratched his head. Though he was put in his place, his face was radiant and he looked even more pleased. Wang Jiangwo nodded heavily and gave a thumbs up. Good. You've got the right to show off. You're worthy of being my son, better than me. Huh. Taiju chuckled, satisfied. Dad, Uncle, third uncle, hurry up and dress this roe deer. Cut off 1 leg and 2 pounds of bear meat, and stew them together. I'll take some with me later, and the rest we'll eat tomorrow as a family. Hearing this, everyone looked at each other. The dressed roe deer would yield about 30 pounds of meat. Even a landlord wouldn't dare to be so extravagant. And why are you cooking so much meat to take away? Third uncle couldn't help asking. I brought this meat back for you all to taste. I didn't say I only caught 1 roe deer today. Taiju smiled mysteriously. After a brief shock, the whole family's pupils dilated, thinking they were hearing things. What? You mean you caught 2 roe deer today? Taiju shook his head and slowly raised 3 fingers. I thought after what just happened, you'd think bigger, but I didn't expect you still have no ambition. Not 2, but 3. The biggest one weighs over 80 pounds, and another over 50 pounds. I hid them at the village entrance when I came back. I'll take them to the black market later. Silence. The previously noisy small yard fell dead silent. You mean, a roe deer that the village only sees once every 3 years, you caught 3 at once? And the biggest is over 80 pounds. Even the old man couldn't stay calm. His hand holding the old tobacco pipe trembled. This kind of thing is quite rare. Catching 1 is lucky. Catching 3 is real skill. Although he had already tried to think highly of his grandson, he still underestimated him. What do you think? Stunned. Looking at the dumbfounded family, Taiju laughed. There's a reason I came back late. From now on, if I come back late or don't come back from the mountains, don't worry. Now, hurry up and dress the roe deer. The sudden news left the 3 brothers frozen in place. They didn't know what to do for a long time. Finally, the old man spoke. My grandson told you to do it, so get on with it. Why so much nonsense? The 3 of you combined aren't as smart as Taiju. Don't you think about where Taiju got these skills? The meat must be for his master. Everyone thought that really made sense. Otherwise, how could Taiju, who used to be idle and learn nothing, suddenly have these abilities? So the 3 brothers started working without saying a word. In these times, someone willing to teach real skills is like a real father. And from now on, don't interfere with whatever Taiju does. If you listen to you, the family won't even have a scrap of meat. The old man shouted again. The 3 brothers nodded repeatedly, not daring to say a word. Exactly. Grandpa is right. Taiju laughed inwardly. He didn't expect Grandpa to come up with such a ready-made excuse for him. Hurry up and wash up, eat, and rest. Later, when you go to the black market, leave early and return early. Have your eldest uncle go with you. Grandpa, I can go alone. Taiju quickly said, the black market in the town commune is too small. I can't exchange for grain. I want to go to Yuan City to exchange these 200 pounds of meat. I won't be back tonight. I'll stay at a guest house. Okay, but I'm not at ease with you going alone. Have your eldest uncle go with you. After the old man finished, he said to Wang Jianya, Eldest, hurry up and write a letter of introduction. Third daughter-in-law, take the letter to your parents' house later and have your father stamp it. Also, tell them to come to our house for breakfast tomorrow morning. Okay. Third uncle's father-in-law is the brigade secretary, the former secretary Li. Taiju was extremely unwilling after hearing this. If he went alone, it would be easy. He could put the roe deer in the ring space. But if he went with his uncle, he'd have to push a cart with 200 pounds of meat for over 2 hours. Wouldn't that be exhausting? But since it had come to this, there was no way around it. All right, I'll go eat and rest first. Jianya, you go rest too. Taiju has been in the mountains all day. You push the cart more tonight. Got it, Dad. At 9 in the evening. The night had cooled down, quite pleasant. In the countryside at night, the ears were full of insects and frogs. Most people in the village had already blown out the lamps and gone to sleep. The 3 brothers had already loaded the bear meat onto the cart. Uncle, I'll go scout ahead first. Taiju clutched a large burlap sack, looking left and right at the door. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, you push the cart over. I'll wait at the fork in the road from the village entrance to the commune. Okay, be smart. The sack looked huge, but inside it only contained the warm roe deer leg and neatly cut bear meat. These had just come out of the pot. Taiju crouched low, walking very lightly. It took him a full 5 minutes to sneak behind Widow Ding's house. The house had no lights on, just a crack open. On the Kong, Widow Ding was holding Yaya. But Yaya stared straight out the window and asked softly, "Mom, will that uncle really bring meat?" Widow Ding touched her daughter's nose and said hoarsely, "He probably won't come. Go to sleep, and you won't feel hungry when you're asleep. Tomorrow, Mom will take you up the mountain to pick dandelions." After saying this, she bit her lip, her heart aching. That bastard. How could he even lie to a child? At home, she was scolded and beaten by her in-laws, and outside, she was deceived. Unknowingly, her eyes reddened. Tap. Suddenly, a crisp sound came. A small pebble slipped through the window crack and landed in the room. Yaya sat up straight and shouted excitedly, "Mom, is it the uncle?" "Shoo, don't make a sound. Mom will go out and take a look." Widow Ding quietly got off the Kong, pushed open the window crack, and saw Taiju crouching under the wall, his eyes smiling at her. Both of them tacitly remained silent. They were afraid of disturbing her in-laws and brother-in-law's family in the next room. Taiju waved at her and tossed the sack into the window with one hand. Bang! The sack hit the ground, quite heavy. It must have weighed about 10 jin. Opening the sack, a meaty aroma rushed into her nose. Widow Ding leaned close to the bed, her voice as thin as a mosquito. Thank you. Don't mention it. This meat won't keep, so don't be stingy with it. Give it to the kid to nourish her." Taiju reminded her in a low voice. But Widow Ding didn't respond this time, waiting for Taiju to make an excessive request. Since he had already brought the meat, what else was there to say? For the sake of her child, she would endure it. However, she didn't speak, and Taiju didn't say anything either. After waiting for a while, Widow Ding couldn't hold back any longer and whispered, "Taiju, do I have to say it myself now that it's come to this? I can let you." Before she could finish, where was Taiju under the wall? Far away, she saw Taiju running off, his silhouette growing blurry in the darkness, light and fast, with no intention of lingering. Widow Ding's mouth slightly opened, utterly astonished. With such a good opportunity today, the other party didn't make any demands but instead left cleanly? What was going on? Could it be that Taiju had really been set up before and had no choice? In her astonishment, Widow Ding felt a wave of relief. It was as if she held a hot sweet potato in her arms, her heart warm and sweet.